Hi everybody, welcome back to Alicia Dianne Art and Studying the Masters. I am Alicia Dianne and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be continuing in Studying the Masters, the Children's Book Edition. We've been working so far with illustration by Lucy Fleming. The illustration is called Foragers. I know I got it wrong before. I think I called it like Voyagers or something, but anyway, this is going to be a good one. We're just going to kick back off right where we left off. So I'm going to open up my Photoshop window and split my view. I think Photoshop is just starting to open, so we'll just give that a second. And let's see. Alright, so we're just going to pick right back up and work with this. So I'm going to open my illustration. Alrighty, here we are. So I'm going to have my reference off to the side, and what I'm going to do is just keep on working where I was left off. Hold on, let me see if I can minimize this just a little bit more. Let's see. There. My window doesn't want to close anymore, but it's okay. I think we can still do just fine. So, I think I know what I did before. I think I had this a little bit more off to the side to allow me to see a little bit more, to see my reference a little bit better. So let's see if that works. Okay, I think that can work a little bit better, actually. And let's see. I think I'm going to start adding on another layer. So we already started. So I'm just going to add a layer there in the corner. We've already started flattening our background. And we're just going to keep on doing that until it's time to add texture. So hopefully we can get to texture today. I think it's a possibility, but we'll have to see. I'm gonna grab my lasso tool, and what I want to do is just start with that second layer of objects. So let's see. I'm gonna go ahead with this big log that's right in the center. And I might need to edit just a little bit because I can see it's not exactly the right shape I want it to be, but I think I can just kind of edit that after I put that first color in. So let me actually go ahead and add a little bit to the top over here. And let's see. This kind of, let's see. I'm still trying to figure out how to use the shortcuts on this very different type of keyboard that I'm not used to. It's not a Mac keyboard, but I think I can work around it. Alright, so we have this big log here. I think I might add just a little bit more over here. Let's see, even it out just a little bit. So like, I mean, it doesn't need to be perfect, but I want it to be accurate enough. Alright, and it looks like the base color is almost like let's see, let me try and find that base color. Definitely some green in there, but it's, before that it's more warm, like a rotted log type of color. Oops, that's the wrong color. Alright, gonna leave it like that. Feels a little bit more green than I want it to be. It's kind of brown, but not too brown. Let's try that one. Is it too dark? That might be a little bit darker than I want it to be. So let's try with this one. I think that can work. I'm wondering if it's less saturated. Maybe I'll leave it there as a base color and then just kind of add more colors as I'm texturing it. I'll also add the rocks on this layer. So it's like almost like mid-ground, I would call this. Let's see what color. The rocks are much more blue, but still a little dark and desaturated a bit. Let's try that. That works. So I think I'm going to give the rocks all the same base color. I'll talk a little bit too about just kind of where I'm at, and I talked a lot about like my thoughts in the last video I recorded on Tuesday. That was making a graphic novel, and I talked a lot about pricing with that and how I was feeling conflicted about a project that I want to do. I did, if you did see that, I did write my business advisor, and what she told me was to offer a counter offer, like a counter bid, which I thought was kind of interesting because I never really, I don't know if I thought about it as like a bid or like we're bidding, but in a way I guess it makes a lot of sense to me. I'll go back to that lower layer just a second to put this on there. But it made sense. So I'm going to write back today. So please wish me luck, because I'm really not sure what the client's going to say, if they're going to accept my bid, if they're going to ghost me. I really don't know, but I guess we'll have to find out. All right. We'll have to wait and see. It's like, it's a little bit scary, but I think it can be a good thing, hopefully. I was thinking about just going ahead and doing the flats on my own, but I think that's kind of not the purpose of this. I get really frustrated when I'm watching a tutorial myself and it fast forwards through a lot of the parts. So the whole point of this is really to be like a play-by-play, which is longer process, but because you don't really see that too much, I wanted to be able to offer that, because a lot of artists and a lot of tutorials like fast forward through everything. And yeah, it's time consuming, and you might think that nobody wants to sit and watch, but if you're trying to understand how it works, at least for me, the type of learner I am, I really need to see everything. Because if I don't see it, then I don't fully grasp it. So when I thought of it in that way, I was like, okay, I think this is actually important. So I do want to go ahead and do it like this. Keep pushing the wrong button. That's too dark. So I mean, I think it will be, I'm still figuring out I guess what it is that people, I don't know, it's funny to say because I'm not really trying to make stuff that necessarily I think people will like. I'm making stuff that I feel like I feel is useful, which could be or could not be work out, but I feel like I'm doing what I feel like more passionate about, I guess, or feel like there's a need for, and what makes sense to me. So that's just where I'm at. I think I've heard so many lessons about, trying to make your audience like you. And I don't think I don't think that's effective. At least I don't, you know, at least that's not the way I want to go about it. I want to go and make the kind of stuff that I want to watch, that I feel like would be useful for me. And if I feel like it's useful for me, then I'm hoping that it will also be useful for other people as well. And I'm changing I'm putting these leaves a little bit, just because I'm realizing that the spacing is a little bit different than how I put it in my initial sketch. So it's okay to change things as you're coloring, and you might notice more stuff because you've been looking now at the drawing for a longer time. Or even if a reference, if I was just looking at just like an original photograph, or if I was looking outside in a park, the longer I look at a particular spot in my viewpoint, the more I'm going to see, or the more I'm going to notice. It's the same thing with this. You notice more the longer that you're doing it, or the longer that you're staring at the same thing. So I'm taking that also into account and letting myself adjust accordingly. I think it's good to give yourself some wiggle room, because not everything is going to fit into for perfect box. Perfectionism is a funny thing. I was actually talking with my son about it last night, actually, because I feel like it is something that kind of runs in my family. I don't think it's like blood hereditary, but I think we do pass those types of things on unwillingly, or unintentionally, probably would be the better word. And I know that I think I've unintentionally passed it on to my son, and my mom has unintentionally passed it on to me. So I'm trying to break that, because I've done some work on myself with not falling into like that trap of perfectionism. But I'm also seeing, how sometimes my son can struggle with the same thing, can struggle with like perfectionism, and I don't want him to. It feels like it's an avoidable thing, or like we don't have to stay in that prison, really, of trying to be perfect. I heard somebody also say before too that perfectionism perfectionism is really like a control issue, or like you're trying to maintain control. I think it makes sense, because we're fearful of things, and so in a panic to let things not get out of our own control, I definitely believe that we try to make things predictable, and predictable can sometimes be making things perfect. That makes sense. Like if things are perfect, then I always know that it's always going to be this way. But nothing is really ever going to be really that perfect and that predictable, no matter how hard we try. So don't try. Not that we shouldn't try to be excellent. I think excellence and perfectionism are very different things. And I do strive for excellence. I think I strive for that a lot, actually. Because I want to have excellence. I want to be good at the things that I do, but it's just being intentional to not obsess over anything or obsess over outcomes. And you know, maybe that's it. Maybe it's the outcome that we're just trying to like have figured out, when we can't really. We can't have the whole figured out. I'm gonna add, I think, one more layer there underneath as a further background, because there's a couple of elements that I'm noticing that I don't want to be on the same layer as like my main leaves, but I want to throw them in there. Blue. And I'm trying to also pay attention to the color palette as I'm doing this. I think it is a wise thing to try and when you start off in your own work and you're making a color palette, I think what I'm trying to say is that I think you should make a color palette. You can use, I like to take one work or one photo that I like and make a color palette based on that. But you can also make like a collage, or what's called like a, why is it slipping my brain right now? What do they call this? A mood board. And then use colors that show up most prominent in that mood board, or show up repeatedly, or whatever. So those are options. So I like that color, that's pretty. Okay. I think it also shows up, some of these things are really layered over. I think, I'm trying to think if there's anything I want to add to this layer before I wonder if there's a shortcut too for adding a new layer. There must be. Layer, new. It looks like Shift Option N. Let's try. I don't know. Especially with my weird keyboard. Let's see. Shift Alt. Nope. Oh, that worked. Okay. So for me, it's on this Windows, it's Shift, the Windows button, and N. Okay, does that work? Yay, it does work. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to put a couple of things on this layer, because there's, and I'm going to make it kind of transparent, because I noticed there's some transparent elements, and it could just be that she was using like a watercolor brush and you can see through it, but I still think it's on a separate layer. And it looks like this might actually go into this other part here. Alright, and this is also like that color, but I'm gonna make the opacity a little bit lower. So I'm thinking even I could also change the layer type. I'm gonna try it like this though for now. Let's see if I like that. Alright, and there's also another, like a leaf thing coming this way with like, feels like the same color. Why isn't it working? Maybe it's not fully. Alright, I don't think did I not fully fill that gap? Alright, let's see. Alright, and let's see. And maybe on this layer, maybe I want to make this a little bit less. Let's say 70%. I'm going to leave it like that for now and see what happens. Okay, where do I want to begin? I think I want to start going back here and filling in some more things that are in this sort of mid-ground layer. So she does a lot of these type of flowers. I don't know what they are. In the course on Domestica, when she was showing her example of a mood board, she had these little things. They're like little types of flowers, but I definitely never seen them in person. So, and I do a lot of outdoor stuff, so I'm wondering, is this, and I know she's like from the UK, so I'm wondering if this is like a flower in the UK that I've never seen before. But they're like little paper lanterns, they look like. And she has a lot of them, and they come in different colors too. And I thought it was just like, you know, one of those like those wishing things, like the little things with the that blow off, until I saw her mood board and I saw the actual flower, and I was like, oh, I've never seen that before. Okay. So actually on this side, let's see. There's a couple of other elements I need to do before those flowers. So maybe I will do those flowers on a separate layer. And let's see if I remember how to do is shift Windows N. Alright, so let's try that. On this new layer, I'll put these flowers. I have no idea how many layers this is actually going to end up being. It might be a lot, but we'll see. She's got a few over here. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't decide to do the flatting separately, because I really want to show the whole process. I actually recently went back, since I'm working on a children's book now, I recently went back to one of my older studying the masters, because I'm like, how did I do that? And I honestly like didn't know how I had done it. Because I wanted to, like I told you guys before, I'm working on my digital painting, like abilities, and just being able to do this helps me to understand it a lot better. Like the process helps me understand it, but then I can also come back and look at it and say, oh, I get it now. That's how that works. Because there's things that I notice in doing these master studies that I just didn't see before when I was doing it, when I, just approach a new illustration for the first time, and I'm just looking at a blank canvas. It can be hard for me to kind of visualize how I want to like portray a certain thing or different element. All right, get this colored in. All right, so I'm naming these flowers just so I know. We'll call this mid for the mid ground. I'm gonna add a little, these things come out further, like almost all the way to the edge of the canvas, so I'm going to add that. And that's also what helps to show this thing. And this one is in the wrong position. So I'm going to try and see if I can do it like that. I love these colors. That's one thing for sure. I really like the colors being used. And I'll go ahead and add those different type of leaves or leaves and the lily pads. That one looks like a Pac-Man. like this, but I think a little more yellow, maybe a little lighter, and less saturated. Perfect. I think I'll do a whole, like a quick tutorial on color palettes in a future video, because it took me the longest time to understand color. I feel mostly comfortable with it now. But like I said, it took me a long time to figure it out. And hopefully what I would like to do through this channel is help you to not have to go through the painful things that I've had to go through in my learning process. That's my goal anyway. As well as just being able to, you know, talk about creative things, creative problem solving. Can't get the shape just right, so I'm just gonna pick on it a little bit more and try and get that how I want it to be. I think that's almost there. I don't know if I want to mess with it more. Look at these colors when I take off the pencil and you just see like the flat colors. It's really pretty. Those are really like appealing looking colors. I like that a lot. Okay. Alright, let's keep moving. I'm gonna start doing some more lily pad mushroomy type of things that she's got. She's got like this strange array of different types of plants. Some of them you can't even really tell like exactly what it is. It's like it could be a lily pad, it could be a mushroom, maybe some weird combination. I'm gonna use the base color. It's like half and half, but I think she used the green first. I keep using that bottom color. I think she used the green first and then went over it with that. There's like an orange color on top of it. I'm gonna save that for the texture part. Doing these master studies is also really strangely relaxing for me. I don't know if anyone else also feels that when they do like a master study, but or maybe it's just painting in general. I don't know. It's just really kind of meditative. I'm going to change the color just a little bit. I think I'll make it a little more saturated for this one and darker. I don't like the shape that it's... I'm trying to avoid touching that rock, but I don't want to give it this weird shape that it's doing right now. Don't want it to tangent off of the rock though. Let's see. I'm starting to see more like where mine doesn't align exactly with hers, but I'm trying to make it close enough that it still has the same feeling and as close as possible as I can to the original, since it is a study. Okay. I wonder if I should just move this rock over. Alright, there's also some leaves and stuff underneath that, which I'm wondering if I should just put on this layer, which I think I will just put on the base layer. There's a log right here that I think I'll put on that original layer as well. This one is a lot more teal colored. But like a little desaturated and a little gray. Like a rotting wood. Perfect. Okay, we're trying to avoid perfect when I'm saying perfect. Excuse me. Okay, so let's go on this plant over here. Plants are really interesting. The more I do like these digital paintings with plants, the more interesting they become to me. They're almost like little animals themselves. It might not make sense to everybody, but they have a lot of personality. And they can be really fun to draw. Especially when you do these funguses and stuff. These weird flowers. It can feel fun. To me. Okay, so now I'm looking for a much lighter color. More green. More minty. Perfect. Okay. And another leaf that's coming this way. If I knew I was going to do all these leaves on the same layer, I would have done that log after, but maybe I'll just go back and fill the color back in. This little green. Alright, we got a lot of color in, which is good. Let's see. I'm going to reinforce that log so that it's not lumpy now because of all the other textures all the other things I've added. So I'm taking off the texture to get the original color and fill that in. Alright, so let's see what I can add now. I think I want this color to go. Take that off again in a second. So I can grab that color. And on this bottom layer, allow this color to extend so we don't have that white right there. I know some of the leaves and stuff might cover it up later. I just don't want that there. Alright, I'm gonna go up here. Let's see, what do I have on this layer? There's a lot of stuff on this layer. The ambulances and the fire trucks. I didn't realize till like too late that we moved like a block away from the fire station. So we hear the fire guys a lot. We hear them on a daily. Alright, let's get these guys in. Because I started late, I'll be going a little bit over. Let's see, I want this like fiery color, reddish orange. I think that's feels right. And a lot of orange and teal. Like oranges and teals look really good together. They might be secondary complementary. I don't know what their relationship is exactly. Let's see, because blue and orange are complementary, and then red and green are complementary. So blue green and what is it, red orange would be secondary complementary. Let's see. All right. See. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and put these little like wheat things on the same layer because I don't know if I was planning on it, but I think it makes sense to me. Let's see. There's like these little long grasses that I want to put on the same layer. And they are like a yellowy green. All right. It's so funny how we don't realize. I think I talked about this last week, but you don't realize how much is really in something until you really do it. Then you're like, oh wow, I didn't see all those little details before. Which I think is really cool because that's how you really understand it, when you see all the little details that you didn't notice before. Which I think is really cool. Alright. Let's see. What else did I want to talk about other than, I mean, I'm totally okay with just talking about the process, but every once in a while I can mention like other stuff that's, you know, on my mind or on my plate. Let's see, there's this, some very tall grass. Let's see. Maybe I'll put another one here on this layer. Feels a little bit transparent anyway. I don't like how far back, like how close that one is. I'm going to make it go a little bit farther back. Right there. Oh, I did it on the flower layer. Oops. Let me knock this off really quickly. Oh, I think I wanted to do it on that layer up here, but even still, it would be over the flower. All right, let's see. Is there anything I'm missing as far as bulk colors? Let's save it. Yeah, these colors are fun. It's a fun color palette. We didn't even get to the texture yet. I don't even know if I want to color the characters until I have more of these other details in there. I think I want to really work on these details before I get into characters. So let's start with texturing. Let's start with the background first. So let me add a layer. If I can remember again, Shift, Window in, okay, and clipping mask. Yeah, it works. Okay. I don't know, I'm excited about that, but that's kind of fun. Okay, and I did not do the lily pads on. Okay, making sure. I'm gonna start with I like to start with the biggest objects, and for me that is the water. So let me go ahead and try out some different brushes. I do like Aaron Blaze's. He has some charcoal brushes that I like. He has a lot of different brushes, but I really like his charcoal ones, and like let's see, pastel brushes. Those are fun. I like this one. Let's see, I remember liking this one, but I think I want the other direction. I want something that is going to hairy one. That could work too. Do what this does. That's cool, but I want it to go in the other direction. A lot of his are up and down, and I want them to go, side to side, and I want a brush that goes up and down, a pastel that goes up and down. See, that's a nice one too. I want it to be, let's see if I can find what I'm looking for. What media? What are legacy brushes? That's so tiny. That's not what I'm looking for. Thick, heavy brushes. Let's see. Ooh, this looks kind of fun. I kind of like that. It goes side to side like I want it to. I wonder, let's see. Oops. Let's see. Still trying to figure out my what these things do. I want to take my opacity down a bit. Let's see, I'm going to take this, let's try to just make it a little bit darker. See what that does. Get a little bit bigger still. Don't know if it's doing what I want it to do. But let's see anyway. Oh, what happened? Let's just see what happens. Maybe we can work something out here. Maybe you want to get that teal coming back. this feels a little bit harsher than I would like it to. It's a little bit better coming back in with the regular color, but let's see, maybe if there's a couple of bluer spots. Let's see. I'm gonna vary it up with the brush size and see. And I'm gonna take some of these spots and just kind of lighten them up. It's a little bit of a combination between instinct and using the reference. So I want it to resemble the original, but first I need to kind of do some problem solving of my own doing, and that means figuring out what makes sense to me. So I feel like if I was to just trying to stare too much at the original, I would get myself stuck, and right now I just need this to all make sense to me, if that makes sense. I want to try a different brush. This one feels a little chunky, like it's doing the most. Just not exactly doing what I wanted to do. Basic brushes. Let's see, mechanical. That's not what I want. Alright. Those are like pens and stuff. I want just like chalky, dry. That's what I'm looking for. Chalky and dry. Let's see how this one feels. I can hardly tell what's happening. Oh, that feels kind of nice. Which one is this? This one is the Hairy Rough, and it's under the Aaron's Custom Brushes 1 Hairy Rough. And the size is 69. Alright, I want it to be just like a blue in there. Like a sharp blue that I want to use. So it's not a whole lot of it, but I can definitely see it in there, and I want it to show. Ooh, this brush feels nice. There's even a little bit of like a navy blue in certain spots. So I'll put in a little bit of like that deeper type of blue. A little bit of teal in there. Definitely a couple of spots that feel like more pencil. So I know there's definitely like she's using separate different layers. Like she got this base painting type of color, but then she also goes in with like adding texture with like pencil texture and stuff like that. I like this. Let's see. It's a little bit of very lighter colors in here. Even lighter than that. I really like this brush. Glad I found it. Thank you, Jesus. I knew I had some nice brushes in here. I just had to like dig a little. I know I have more that I like. Just have to keep on searching for them. And just so it doesn't look too like one way, I'm gonna add a little bit the darker back in there just to kind of vary it up a little bit. I think with painting it's, I don't know, it's a lot of feeling your way around stuff. She's also using like a muddy type of greenish. I want to get that in there. Like the algae. But I like it. It feels natural and it feels good to me. Let's see. I like this. And we will add more. But let's see. Just a couple of very more lighter spots. Very like kind of strategically placed lighter spots. We don't want to neglect spots. Make sure I go in and see those. Don't think I got these corners over here. Make sure I get those. Take that rock color and add it in just a little bit over there and down here and a little bit over here. And let's see how we are with time. Want it to be, make sure that it's continuous. I'm not feeling like cut off or I zoomed in. Alrighty. See where we're at for time. We got like 5 more minutes. Oh, good. Okay. A little more time than I thought we did. I think I'm gonna leave that there for now and work on this little log, which is on the same layer, right? Yeah, so let's take this color, make it a little darker. Oops, added that ruler by accident. Don't need that. Even just a little bit more dark too. And then some spots where we want much lighter on that log. Let's see, I'm gonna take this down size and lighten it quite a bit. Just for like a little bit of streakiness. And then there is like some almost brownish color in there as well. Okay, let's see, I'm going to turn off some of my other colors and see what we have. Oh, so we still have a lot of texture to do on this layer. Okay, so I wasn't sure how much of the stuff I still had here. So I'm actually going to keep those layers off a second so I can see this better. See what needs to be done on this layer. I think I'm going to keep using this brush because I like it. To kind of fill in some of these things. And I'm just going to be loose with it too. Get it lighter. I want to get darker also. So we can have some variety. I might, let's see. That there. Let's try another brush. Let's try this one. Darker than that. This one is pretty cool too. This one is called Splatterline. So I guess if you just put it straight, it's more splattery. But if you brush it, it's kind of textured. Maybe it might be too splattery in some parts. Don't want it to be looking like too much splattery. Try another one. Let's try sample brush 45. Let's see how that one looks. Get some light ones in there too. And I'll save the crayon line for last or for after, because I want to really focus on just getting this base texture in. I think I want a different brush. Let's try this one. This one is Pastel C. Just can't see it too much. I wonder if I make that opacity stronger. Okay. Try darker spots in places. That feels nice. I can't for the life of me make brushes. I don't know how people do it. Maybe one day I'll figure out how to do it, but right now I have no clue how to make a brush in any of these like platform things. It's not in my scope, so I just leave it to those who know what they're doing with that, because I can't. I hope maybe one day I can understand it well enough to make my own, but right now I'm just not that much of a technical whiz. I feel like I'm not tech savvy at all when it comes to that sort of thing, like any sort of
anything's like feel like building, like making your own software, doing anything, or it's like too technical. I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that. I don't know how to do that. Leave it to those who know, because I do not. And I could probably even just take this sketch off right now. I think that can feel like, alright, I can understand it a little bit. Make sure they're not intersecting each other where I don't want them to be intersecting each other. Intersecting each other's textures. Just trying to keep them in their own lane-ish. Because I'm not doing that foreground stuff, it is going to be a little bit tricky just figuring out what it looks like before adding all the other stuff on there. But I think we can figure it out. Let's see. And now I just wanted to just be varied enough that it doesn't feel so flat. You know? Keeping in mind where the light source is coming from a little bit. So just being aware of that. Now this is a lot more about just following instinct, this part. Like what's making, like what makes sense for the picture, for the photograph, for the, not the photograph, but for the piece. Keeping in mind where that light source is. Adding texture where it feels, well, I want everything to have at least a little bit of texture. I don't want anything to come off feeling flat. So that's why I want to give at least a little bit of texture to everything. And I think, I'm pretty sure that's what the original artist did as well, because nothing feels flat. Just be careful too where things are overlapping where they don't need to be. Alrighty. We're just about the end of our studying the masters for today. But if all goes well and the Lord is willing, we will meet again next week. I'm all in it now. I'm like, oops. Okay. Alright, just being careful like where I'm placing certain things. I feel like it's brushing on this. Is that layer hidden? I don't know it. Oh, it is. It's on a different layer. Okay. Alrighty. Let's see. I'll probably just put the alpha lock on that one to color this. Bit lighter, and we're about to head out. I know I'm like so invested now. I feel like it. I'm so invested. This is why I almost did this one as a 2-hour thing, but I know I gotta keep it moving. So let's go ahead and pause here. I'll turn this sketch layer back on and my other layers for now, so we can see everything that we did today. It looks fun. Let's see. Okay, we're gonna stop here. But it was a good session. We went over even a few minutes. I got into it. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me this Good Friday. Have a great Easter weekend, and hope you guys are either you're ending spring break or just starting your spring break. Try and get some drawing in there and see if you can do a master study yourself, whether it's based on this one or if you want to try on one of your own favorite artists and see how that goes. Feel free to write in the comments and give this video a thumbs up if you think it was good. Hopefully you did. And until I see you again, be grateful, live balanced, and be yourself. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.